What is up, loves, and happy Friday. Happy Ask Me Anything Friday, my favorite day of the week. So excited because I'm going to answer a question from you all. This is a great question, and it's one I get a lot. It's about kind of schedule management and how to handle last minute cancellations from your guests, and I'm actually going to take it my own direction. Shocking, because I always do. But this question is about how to deal with, hi Jennifer Love, guests who text and cancel at the last minute, leave these unnecessary scheduling gaps in your day where you lose money and there's no way to make it up. Shelly, so glad to have you here. So let me introduce myself. Let's roll and let's take control of your schedule. My name is Britt, and I'm a social media and marketing strategist just for hairstylists. My goal is to make your life as a stylist a little bit easier, a little bit more organized, help you to spend your time and money in the right places, quit wasting it in the wrong places, so you can grow your clientele the quicker, faster, easier way using today's technology. It's never been easier to grow a clientele. You just have to understand the tools at hand to do so, and I'm here to share some of those things with you today. Hi, Tracy. So good to see you, love. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Abby. So good to see you. If you like what we're talking about, as always, I love it when you give the Facebook thumbs up. Let the hearts roll. Julie says, I'm loving Thrivers. Yay, Julie, I'm so glad. Sharon, I'm glad to have you here. And then my favorite part is connecting with you all. So chat in the chat box. Give me some feedback. Tani, happy Friday. So glad to see you here. Amanda, so good to see you. And let's chat it up. Oh my gosh, Emma says, morning from Australia. Oh my gosh, and you're a day ahead, right? So happy Saturday to you, Emma. Bonnie, so glad to have you here. Oh, timely because I just had a no-show. Perfect. Isn't that funny how this works out? Tanya says she's excited about this topic. Leanne says, I'm literally in the middle of trying to figure out what to do with last-minute cancels and no-shows. Need this live session. It's just amazing how life works out. Okay, so this is a message I got from another stylist. I'm going to read it. It says, good morning. I'm in need of some advice on clients that book appointments and always cancel the day before in a text, right? And it's always the same people. She says, it's always the same people. I rent my chair and don't get paid unless I have clients, as we know. So even as a commission stylist, for the most part, if there's a no-show, you don't get paid. I couldn't pay my commission people if there's a no-show. Now, I'm in California, the land of many employment laws, and we have to pay our commission staff a base hourly pay plus commission bonus. Now it's very different out here. But even before, in a commission salon, they needed to have been guaranteed an hourly wage. They needed to have made at least minimum wage for all hours worked. But in essence, I couldn't pay them their commission if the client didn't show up. So they didn't get paid in full either. Same with an hourly stylist who gets paid on bonus. Unless the guest is in your chair, you don't get paid. And the reason I'm making a big deal about that is that clients don't always realize it. And I know that that feels stupid because it's like, well, we're in a service industry. Like if they don't come in, we don't get money. They don't always understand that. And I had to learn that the hard way. I will talk about cancellation policies and enforcing them, but when I would enforce our cancellation policy in the salon, I had every kind of response under the sun. But the one that always surprised me is people who were like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize she wouldn't get paid if I didn't come in. And this always came from people who I knew genuinely didn't get it. Like they just assumed we were just handing out cash, like whether clients came in or not, we could just pay the stylist, and we can't. That's a disconnect because the majority of the world isn't paid that way, right? They're paid salaried or hourly. The money comes in and you just do as much work as you can during the day, right? That's how a lot of the world works. But in our industry, time is money, and if you're not working on a guest, you don't get paid. I only bring that up because while a lot of clients do know that, a lot of them don't. So putting some of the things I'm going to talk about in place will help them to understand, and they do have a heart, and they don't want you to lose out on money. It is just a disconnect. Okay, so quick note on that. Then she says, I'm still building my clientele. Would you have any advice on how to address this with my clients? I do have a cancellation policy in place, but it seems to not work out very well. Help, please. Okay, couple of things. So she says that she has a cancellation policy in place, and I'm willing to bet that the vast majority of stylists who watch this video have a cancellation policy in place. That's a fairly standard thing for any business now. If you don't have a cancellation policy in place, today is the day you start one, and it doesn't have to be a really fancy thing to start. You just figure out the guidelines for your own business. And for some stylists, it's you need to give me 48 hours notice to cancel your appointment. For some, it's 24 hours notice to cancel your appointment. What I always say is, how long do you realistically think it would take for you to fill the gap? So if today is Friday, if a guest called out on me this morning, could I fill that gap today? I don't know. Maybe some of you could. Maybe you have a booming wait list that you could fill from. A lot of us can't. What if that call had come yesterday? Would I have stood a better chance to fill that spot today? Kelly, Kelly, I miss you so much. I'm so glad to have you on here. Maybe, maybe not. Do you feel like you would stand a better chance if somebody had to cancel by Wednesday? Probably, but would they be pissed having to give a 48-hour notice? You have to take all these things into account and really decide what that timeline would look like for your business. Now, the other piece you have to figure out is, and then what? And this is the piece that most people mess up on. So if I'm the stylist, I say, okay, thank you for booking your appointment with Britt Seva. Just so you know, I do have a 24-hour cancellation policy. And if you cancel within the 24 hours, then what happens? And this is where most people mess up. Because if you just say I have a 24-hour cancellation policy, okay, well, we as adults are just overgrown children. So if there's no repercussion for our action, we're not going to do anything any differently. So if I have an appointment with you this morning and I call this morning and I cancel and then I can just get back on your book in 4 weeks and who cares, then I'm going to cancel whenever I want to because I'm just going to do whatever works for me. They're not trying to be mean, but we as humans are slightly selfish and we have our own world going on, and sometimes I just got to cancel, and if there's no repercussion, I don't really feel that bad about it. It's not a big deal. Couple things you can do. One thing I always say is like get them where it hurts, and for me it always hurts in my pocketbook. Like I don't want to spend money on things I haven't gotten done. So having a cancellation fee is really, really powerful. You can do that a couple different ways. You can have like a across the board fee. So if you cancel on me within less than 24 hours, you're going to be charged a $25 fee. Fine. If you cancel on me within 24 hours, you'll be charged $25 per service, which is what we did. So if somebody was down for a haircut, highlight, color, they owed me $75 if they cancel within 24 hours. You could also do 50% of the service charge. It just depends on what you want to do. You could do 100% of the service charge. Kristen says, I haven't actually gotten paid from my policy, but I don't want those clients back. They can't rebook until that fee is paid. Exactly right. So you put the fee into place. Then what happens? And this is where it messes up because she said, I do have a cancellation policy in place, but it seems to not work out very well. The reason it seems to not work out very well is because you are not enforcing it. They're not just going to follow the rules willy-nilly and do it on their own. You have to lay down the law. It's like kids. So what happens is the first time somebody blows it, they get a grace period. And you say, Sally, got your message. I know you can't come in today. You are within my 24-hour cancellation window. So generally speaking, I would have to charge you $25 as your cancellation fee today. I know we haven't done this before. I totally understand your kids are sick. I'm going to waive the fee for you just this one first time. It will apply next time, but for now, let's just get you back on my books, okay? So you do make a production of it, and you verbally have to tell the person what is going on. And if you don't have that awkward conversation where you say, gotcha, but just so you know, next time I am going to charge you, then next time you can't charge them. You have to make it super duper clear. So make that very clear, and usually they're like, oh my gosh, okay, I won't do it again, okay? So the next time they do it, next time Sally does call and cancels within 24 hours, then you say, Sally, I totally understand your son is sick again. I know we talked about this a couple months back. Unfortunately, you are within the 24-hour cancellation policy. I know you have your hands full at home, but to offer the best possible service to all of my guests, I do have to enforce this policy. So I am going to apply the $25 charge to your account, and you really do have to do it. And the way that we used to do it is we used an online booking system, which is the best way to keep it organized. And we would just place that $25 charge on their account, and we would put a no book restriction. Somebody could not book an appointment into the salon until that charge was paid. And the charge could be paid in person by cash, in person by check, over the phone by credit card. You could not get back on the book without paying that. It was impossible. Leanne says, cancels are one thing, but what about no-shows? I've been getting a lot of those lately. Same things. The exact same thing would apply to a no-show. Leanne, you call them and let them know they are owed this, they have to pay this charge, or they cannot come back in. Abby says, how do you track who you give a grace period to? We made a note in their file. So again, another good argument for using an online booking system if you're not already. So we would have in our clients' profiles, we would have pages and pages of notes sometimes. So if I, as the salon director, called Sally to let her know that she was warned once about the cancellation policy, I would go into the notes section of her account and I would say, on 5/5/2017, Britt called and made her aware of the cancellation policy. So next time I went to pick up that phone to call, I could see, and I could even note that. Sally, I know that when I called you on May 5th of 2017, I did let you know about the cancellation policy, and suddenly I sound really slick, and she can't wiggle her way out of it either. So we kept really copious notes on everybody that really made a difference. So enforcing it is a big part of it. Charging the fee before they even can get back on your books is the only way. So if somebody's like, I'll pay it next time I'm in, unfortunately we can't do it that way. You have to stick to your guns, because as soon as you let them come back in, the fee is not going to get paid and it gets more awkward for you. Do it from the jump. Julie says, what about when we have to cancel on them? Once in a while when we are sick or other emergencies. Right. You're totally entitled to sick days. You're a human being too. And to me, the same policy applies. I'm going to assume you're only calling out sick maybe 3 times a year. Maybe? I didn't call in sick that much, but I know people do. So maybe you call in sick 3 times a year. What are the chances that you're going to call out sick on the same clients each and every time? It's maybe going to happen to them once in the entire 10 years you're doing their hair, and then maybe once again in the next decade, right? So you waive that fee the first time, right? The first time somebody cancels, it's a get out of jail free card. Let's hope that your guests will allow you to call in sick on them one time and not lose their minds. And if you can't call in sick one time and they lose their minds, then they're not the client for you anyway. Bye-bye. You got to go, right? But if you're calling out sick frequently, or you're having family emergencies frequently, that's something that we need to really look at in your business and figure out what we need to do to make sure that that's not always happening so common, or not happening so often. But I'm going to assume it's not happening all the time, and you would be allowed that grace period too. Julie says, I hate to cancel, but when it's 2 to 3 times a year, it happens. It does. And you get that get out of jail free card too. So it goes both ways. So really important that you charge the fee. The other thing I want to talk about is texting. And this is something that Shannon says, or I do a complimentary wax. You know what? I'm not a big fan of I was sick, so here's a present. I actually think that it sets the wrong tone and it dehumanizes us. And I think there is this expectation for us as stylists. You know what I mean? When a client calls and says, I know you're booked for the next 2 weeks solid, but can't you stay late Thursday night until 11 p.m. to do my hair? Because you're not a human, you're the hairstylist machine. And when we do things like, I'm so sick, so here's a present because I was on my deathbed and couldn't come in to do your hair, so here's a present. I honestly think it sets the wrong impression. It sets that vibe of, I am your slave here to do your hair. I'm so sorry I inconvenienced you. I just don't believe in that. I think that if I'm going to give you the grace of the one time to be sick, I deserve that as well. That's just my opinion on that. So as far as the texting, when clients text to say, listen, I know I had an appointment today, but I can't make it. So sorry. I think texting to your guests is almost detrimental to your business. I think that it creates this tone of we're casual buddies and I do your hair. And I know that text marketing and text appointment confirmations are everything. And I firmly believe you need to have all of that in your business. I don't believe it means here is my personal cell phone number, let's book everything via text. I think that's 2 different things. And I know that when I text somebody, my communication to that person is incredibly casual. And if I'm going to have an actual conversation with somebody, it's not going to be via text. And so when you set the tone in your business of, oh, just shoot me a text, it opens the door to, sorry, babe, can't make it in today. Let me know when you have another appointment on your schedule. It just sets this tone of, we're cash, so no big deal. Whereas if someone needs to reach me, they need to pick up a phone and call or send me an email, it does change the tone a little bit. It's not this super urgent, I text you, you better get back to me in 10 seconds kind of a communication. It's more like, well, she's a professional. This is how I need to reach her. And it really does change the game, and it raises the bar a little bit. It's like, damn, if I'm not going to go in and see Britt today, I guess I have to call her. And then what if she answers? Then I have to try and explain what's going on versus I can just shoot a quick text and let her know I'm not coming. It's a little too easy. And so it's so funny. It's when we started letting our clients text us is when this started happening more often. I'm 100% sure of it. Shannon says, I call my clients, don't text them. It definitely seems unprofessional. Right. And I know that it's easy. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of text marketing. I'm a huge fan of text appointment confirmations. I, as a consumer, like it too. But when a professional texts me to ask me a question, I instantly feel a little bit less professional. Not that I don't love the convenience, but it doesn't feel as pro to me, and it makes me feel more casual with them. So if you feel like you're in the spot with your clients where it's easy to text out on you, or how about this? When the client sends you a text and they're like, so here's what I'm thinking for my hair the next time, and it's a text that's like this long, and it takes you 6 minutes just to read the text, and you're like, dude, this is like a consultation. This is not, what are we doing? We can't do this via text. But that's the tone that you set. So I challenge you to work your way out of that like text zone with your clients as soon as you can. Shauna says, I just had 2 color clients cancel via text. It just makes it too easy. And I know easy communication is important, but it makes it difficult to run a successful business. So I challenge you to consider shifting more to a phone or email-based text system or communication system. Hi, Victoria Love. So good to see you. And using text for one-way marketing, one-way appointment confirmations, and that's it. So that's my 2 cents on cancellation policies, why texting does increase your odds of cancellation, and how I would look to step forward in maximizing your time and limiting those last-minute cancels in the casual conversation. Shelly says, I wish I would have quit texting years ago. Me too. Because I'm warm, they'll all think they're my favorite client. It's so true. And then Shelly, once they get in that favorite client zone, they're like, oh, Shelly's my girl, right? I'm just going to shoot her a text. She'll understand. It really does change the tone. So when stylists tell me, I feel like I'm making less tips, I feel like I get more cancellations, I do blame a lot of it on the way that we communicate with our guests today. So just something to think about. So much love to you guys. Happy Friday. And I will be back on Sunday for a little woo-woo Sunday action. So much love. Oh my gosh, if you guys aren't already in there, hop in our amazing Facebook group. It is blowing up. Hairstylist Business Building Community. If you search for it on Facebook, it's freaking amazing. Totally free. We're having so much fun in there. Hop in and join us. So much love, and I'll see you guys Sunday. Bye, guys.